Jesus' footsteps.
Welcome back to The Apprenticeship. We'll continue our journey in Jesus' footsteps through the Gospel of Luke.
But before we get started, let's have our friend Chika Okudiri read us this week's memory verse. It is found in Luke chapter 2, verse 49.
But why did you need to search? He asked. Didn't you know that I must be in my Father's house?
Today's story is drawn from Luke chapter 2, verses 41 to 51. The story recounts a time when Jesus and his family went to the Passover in Jerusalem. Jesus was 12 years old at the time.
This story today is the first time we see Jesus take on an active role in his story.
So, Joseph and Mary head home from Jerusalem, but Jesus remains behind in the temple. He is in his Father's presence, going about his Father's business, discussing Torah with the temple's leaders. After a full day of travel, Joseph and Mary realize that Jesus is not with them.
As parents, it is not hard to imagine how Mary and Joseph must have felt. Joseph and Mary returned to Jerusalem. They searched for Jesus for 3 days. When they finally find Jesus in the temple, he is surprised that they would not look there first. Did they not know he would need to be in his Father's house doing his Father's will?
It is a striking story. It's a very personal story for Jesus and his family, but this story has plenty of insights and lessons for us too. First of all, Luke continues to show us that Jesus grew up in a pious family. In addition, Luke shows that Jesus was a faithful Jew. Jesus was circumcised, he was presented in the temple, and now we find him attending the Passover in Jerusalem. All things that a faithful Jew would do.
Before this, Luke shared stories of others to highlight Jesus' special identity and divine mission. Zachariah and Elizabeth, Mary and Joseph, angels and shepherds, Simeon and Anna. But in this story, Jesus himself speaks up. Even though he's only 12, he already shows great wisdom and a deep understanding of the scriptures.
Jesus also shows he knows who he is, that he is God's son. He adds that he knows he has a special mission. He must be about his Father's business.
That's right. And we see him prioritizing his sonship to God and his divine purpose. He gives them a higher claim than any other claim on him, even family.
Wow, that is a tough line to walk. Ultimate allegiance to God while still navigating earthly claims on oneself. Yet, we see Jesus doing it with gentleness and conviction.
And Rebecca, that's not the only lesson we can learn from this story. How often can we relate to Joseph and Mary's experience of losing Jesus? We can sometimes take him for granted. We assume he is there as we go our own way, without checking whether this is where we should go, how we should live, or what we should do. We can even get so busy doing kingdom life, we do not have time for him. And then, somewhere along the way, we lose Jesus. Thankfully, this story shows us that Jesus can be found. In fact, he's never actually lost.
It is more like we've wandered from him, right? It is reassuring to know that Jesus is never lost to us, only that we have wandered.
And how can we find our way back to him? We search for him in prayer, in the Bible, and through fellowship. We press on until we sense our nearness to him once again.
In this story, Jesus modeled for us uncompromising loyalty to God and his purpose for life. This is something we are all called to do. to remain loyal and steadfast to our King and his claims on our lives. I have an object lesson to demonstrate.
I'm curious.
I have a compass here, right? So I have an easy pop quiz too. What does the needle on a compass do?
It's too easy. It's always points north.
A compass gives us a clear direction. Jesus had a clear sense of his purpose, even as a young boy. He knew that he needed to be in his Father's house, focused on his divine mission. You see the compass? Now I'll give you
Oh, a map.
a map. Oh, you know, it's a map, yes. A compass also keeps us on a course. You see, it points a direction. By remaining in the temple, Jesus demonstrating unwavering focus on his divine mission, even when others didn't understand. His compass kept him on track, even as life brought twists and forks in the road. Just as a compass aligns with magnetic north, we must align our lives with God's will to have a clear direction and to stay on course. A compass and map together help us navigate. Similarly, when we focus on God's purpose and spend time in His Bible, He guides us through life's challenges. And finally, even when we get off track, like Mary and Joseph searching for Jesus, focusing on God, His purpose for us, and spending time in His Word will help us find our way back to where we need to be.
That is a great illustration, Rebecca. Thank you so much. Just as you said, we need to focus on our relationship with God and His purpose for our lives, even when it does not line up with others' expectation of us. Keeping our spiritual compass aligned with God's will navigate life's journey with purpose and direction.